everyone, welcome back. My name is Diana, aka Bookish Di, and welcome to my NEWTs Readathon TBR. The NEWTs Readathon starts today. It is part of the Magical Readathon hosted by Book Roast. I'm gonna put the announcement video in the description box. But essentially this is a continuation of the Owls Readathon from earlier this year. Whereas the Owls Readathon, there was one prompt for each subject offered at Hogwarts. The NEWTs Readathon builds on that. So there's 3 prompts for each subject, one for A for acceptable, E for excellent, and O for outstanding. And so for each prompt, they scaffold onto each other. So you can't just, go read the O and say, oh, I have an outstanding in History of Magic. You have to also have it done the A and the E prompts in order to achieve that O. So since I completed all the prompts earlier this year for the Owls Readathon, my career path is fairly wide open. So after much deliberation and indecisiveness, I decided to attempt 2 careers. So the first one is ministry worker in the Department of Mysteries. So for that, I would have to, so for the basis for ministry workers is getting A in Charms, Defense Against the Dark Arts, potions and transfigurations, and then in order to specialize in Department of Mysteries, it's 4 O's in any subject. So I'm going for Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Defense Against the Dark Arts, and Transfiguration. And then the other career I'm going for, if I have time, is going to be librarian because, surprise, I'm a librarian in real life. But also librarians, and according to the Wizard and Career sheet put out by Book Roast, is under the Department of Mystery. So it kind of makes sense that, doing both. And so the requirements for librarians are a little easier. It's outstanding in Ancient Runes, E in Defense Against the Dark Arts, and E in History of Magic. So without further ado, my NEWTs TBR. So starting off with Ancient Runes, the prompt for A is Ehwaz, which means partnership, and so this is a book recommended by a friend. So I am going with The Psychology of Time Travel by Kate Mascarenhas. This was recommended to me by the wonderful Gin Jenny at the Reading the End podcast. She was talking about this book a while ago, and it sounded fantastic. It's kind of like Hidden Figures meets time travel. There's a mystery involved, and I do like time travel, so this seemed like a good book for this prompt. The next prompt for the E is a book written in the past tense. So while I'm trying to clear out my library TBR, I decided to go with The Unquiet Dead by Ozma Zehanat Khan. This is a mystery novel. It takes place in Toronto. I haven't been reading quite as many mysteries this year as I normally do, so I'm hoping to, read this and maybe kickstart it again. She also has written fantasy books, but I figure I'll start with her mystery series. And the final prompt for Ancient Runes for the O is book that's been on your TBR for ages. So for this, I'm going with Cast and Shadow by Michelle Segara. This is the first book in her Chronicles of Elantris series, and this book has been on my TBR for over 10 years at this point. I keep meaning to read it, and I never do. Chronicles of Elantris is a long-running series by Michelle Segara. I think it's over 12 books at this point. It's been going on for a really long time, and it's a secondary world urban fantasy where it follows a young woman named Kaylin, who in this first book is trying to solve a mystery in the neighborhood where she grew up in. So the next subject that I'm going for is arithmancy, and the prompt for A is book that ends on an even number. So for that, I am doing The Black Odds Drawings by P. Jelly Clark. I believe this one was nominated for a Hugo. I received a copy from Tor at ALA, and I've heard very good things about it. So I'm looking forward to reading this. And it's on the shorter side too, which is nice. E is a standalone book, so I am planning on reading Long May She Reign by Rhiannon Thomas. This is about a young girl who's like 23rd in line for the throne, just wants to be left alone in her lab, and due to a mass poisoning of the royal family, she suddenly ends up on the throne, and so she has to deal with that and find out who killed the other royals. And for the O, the prompt is book longer than 350 pages. And since because I'm me and I have to have a Star Wars book in here somewhere, I decided to go with Star Wars Rebel Rising. It is a prequel novel to Rogue One. It covers Jin's experience growing up with the partisans and kind of gives backstory into how she ended up the way she is. I've heard good things about this. I love Rogue One a lot, and so I'm looking forward to reading this. So next on my list is Charms, and I'm only doing the A prompt for this, and the prompt is a gorgeous cover. So I am doing Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I love the cover a lot. It looks just absolutely stunning. It has some cool, like, 1920s vibe along with my art, and I've been looking forward to this book ever since it was announced, and I'm really looking forward to reading it for this readathon. Next is Defense Against the Dark Arts. So the first book I have, so for the first prompt is Black Under the Jacket. So I am doing We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia, and as you can see, Black Under the Dust Jacket. This is a queer Latinx YA book that Bria at Chaos Bria had recommended to me, so I'm really looking forward to reading it because it ticks off a lot of boxes for me. Next is first book I remembered on my TBR, and so I'm going to be honest, I completely blanked on this when I started putting together prompt list, and then I remembered, oh wait, I haven't actually read Prince on Paper yet, by Alyssa Cole, so that is going to be my pick for this one. It is the third book in her Reluctant Royal series, which I adore, and this book has fake dating, which is one of my all-time favorite tropes. I really love Alyssa Cole's work, and I've been saving this book, so looking forward to it. And the last prompt for O is a book set in England. So I am doing The True Queen by Zen Cho. This is the sequel to Sorcerer to the Crown, which I loved. It is fantasy set in Regency England. And so it is about two sisters who lose their memory and one of whom starts fading from existence. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. So next is History of Magic, and this is what I need for the librarian career. So these might not happen. I'm hoping they do. So the first one for A is a fantasy. So I'm doing The Diamond Throne by David Eddings. I meant to read this earlier this year. It didn't happen. But this is the first book in, I can't remember the name of the series actually, but it inspired a couple of books that are further on in my TBR. And it is the favorite book of some folks I know, despite not necessarily aging well. So I'm interested to, read it and see for myself. And one of the books that I've seen said that is in conversation with The Diamond Throne and Eddings in general is my pick for the A prompt, which is a book that has a map. So I am doing An Inheritance of Ashes by Leah Bobbitt. So it is what happens after the war and how things change. And hold on, there was a map. So for potions, I'm similar to Charms. I'm just doing the A prompt. My pick, so the prompt for A is a friend's favorite book. So I am doing Say Nothing of the Dog by Connie Willis. This is my friend Kay's favorite book. She's talked about it a lot on her podcast, Not Now I'm Reading. It has time travel, which as I mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of. I've never actually read Connie Willis, and I've heard that To Say Nothing of the Dog is one of her best books. So I picked it up on an ebook sale a while ago, and I'm looking forward to finally reading it. All right, we're almost to the end. Last one is transfiguration. And so the prompt for A is contains LGBTQIA plus content. So my choice is The Afterword by E.K. Johnston. This has a quest, it has lady knights, it has women falling in love with each other. I think it also has land management. That was something that I've seen discussed. But this is the second book that is in conversation with Eddings as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this because lady knights are totally my jam. E is not the first book in the series, so I am doing American Fairy Tale by Adriana Herrera. This is the second book in her American Dreamers series. It is an MM romance starring an Afro-Latino man falling in love. He's a social worker, Melo, and he falls in love with Tom, who is this really rich guy, and I absolutely adored the first book in this series, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one, as well as reading the other books in the series, because I really love Adriana Herrera's writing. And the last book, yay, we're almost there, is for O, and it is over 500 pages. So I'm going to be reading Mirror Dance by Lois McMaster Bujold. This is in her Vorkosigan saga. It follows Miles Vorkosigan and shenanigans that he gets through, involving, spoilers, his clone Mark. Nancy over at Tashi Station has, talked up this series a lot. KJ over at Lady Business really likes it. And I've started reading this and I've really enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to continuing with this series and reading more about Miles' misadventures. So that is my entire TBR for the Newts. I know it is a lot. Hopefully I can do it because I actually don't have a whole lot on my plate this month, which is great. Anyway, are you all participating in the Newts? If you are, what career are you aiming for? Are there any books that you're looking forward to reading? Or are there any books on my TBR that you have a lot of feelings about? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked what you see, please subscribe and share with your friends. All right, talk to you later. Bye.